I can only be great. I can only be great.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let's talk about AEW Rampage from September the 3rd, 2021. So we start the show with Lee Johnson versus Malachi Black. Why this match was competitive, I have no earthly idea. Why did Lee Johnson have so much offense in this match? Now, I understand they wanted to tell a story, right? They wanted to tell the story of Lee Johnson kind of being tempted to do the wrong thing by attacking Malachi Black with the chair. I get that. That was near the end, though. This was after Lee Johnson had gotten a little way too much offense. He had even jumped over the top rope at on Malachi Black. I was sitting here stunned at the amount of offense Lee Johnson got, and what should have been a job match. Look, I know that. Okay, I have to just put it in my brain that AEW does not care about the casual audience, because the casual audience, if let's say you never saw him in WWE, he was on the bench for a long time, Mr. Malachi Black. So you didn't know. They did a good job of showcasing what he can do here, but you would have just wanted to see him kill this guy. That was the entire point. The entire point is you want to see him kill people, not have competitive back and forth matches with these guys. Now, he did get a dominant win in the end by, completely taking him out of the match and then, teasing him with the chair and everything. But we could have done that in a shorter amount of time, I believe. So it was fine. It was fine, I guess. As a story match, it was fine. I do have a problem with Jericho talking about Malachi Black's intimidating persona and that look at his career resurgence, like as if he worked there before. Real bizarre. Real bizarre. Dustin Rhodes came out there to help Lee Johnson as Malachi Black put his foot on his face, just completely disrespecting him. This afterwards, Dustin cut a promo saying that, I know you dwell in darkness, but I've been in darkness for 5 decades, and that, he's going to show him something on Dynamite. So Dustin Rhodes versus Malachi Black on Dynamite. I actually like that idea. I think it's a good TV main event. It works. So that just means that Cody will be back probably mid-September. All right. Because there really is no one left now. So Cody is next. Miro, Eddie Kingston cut promos on each other. I really enjoyed this. Miro says that, you call yourself the Mad King, but the only king I recognize is mad at you. And he talked about all these gifts that God has given Eddie Kingston, and he blew it and had to settle for taking a charity contract from AEW. And that, over time he's become soft. Now he's a bag boy for Jon Moxley. Eddie Kingston came out wearing a DMX jersey, which I thought was very good. DMX's love for DMX. Eddie Kingston's love for DMX is excellent. I like it. Considering DMX is one of my favorite rappers when I was a kid, especially when in 98, 99, oh God, 98 to 2000, man, that was my dude. So I'm fully behind Eddie Kingston on the DMX tip. Then Eddie Kingston said that Miro's God isn't real to him, and that Miro's God sent Kingston to punish Miro. He called Miro's God ugly and stupid, and it said that all my moves are essentially your weakness. I know your weaknesses, and I'm here to redeem you. And Miro said, if you take one more foot near this ring, I'm gonna redeem you tonight. And Eddie Kingston responded, redeem these nuts. And then they got into, he ran into the ring and Miro fled. Good stuff. Kingston pursues, gets hit in the head with the title. The TNT title. Bounced right off his noggin. Okay, cool. Miro throws Eddie Kingston into the ring. Seconds later, Eddie Kingston recovers and hits a DDT on Miro. And wouldn't you know it, a DDT is more effective than bouncing the title off somebody's head. That's the why is Miro's weakness DDTs? Like I don't understand that. Like I get, wanting to create a weakness in a way that makes that's believable for other people to win. I actually like it. I like that idea. Um, Mainly because that's great psychology. Like when Brock Lesnar has his matches, everybody works on his rib cage and his stomach area because he had diverticulitis. So it was like everybody knows that he had diverticulitis. Everybody knows Edge had a neck injury. Everybody knows that Kurt Angle has a neck injury. I don't know that there's a story of Miro having a neck injury. I do believe like the one time he was out for a long time in WWE, wasn't he on crutches? Like something happened to his ankle or leg or something like that. Like treating him kind of like Achilles from Troy, and his literal weakness, his literal Achilles heel is his Achilles heel. Like that would have been sweet. Like if his ankles or something like that were his weakness. The neck area, like in wrestling, you get power bombed and suplex and stuff all the time on your neck. Why would you be in any way a massive bulldozer of a human being, and your weakness is your neck? I don't get that. I don't know. Well, I mean, unless it was real. Like if it's real, then sure it makes sense. But I don't think this is real. This just comes across as some kayfabe shit they created. And if that's the case, then I don't see what the purpose is. If you're gonna kayfabe an injury that might be, I wouldn't kayfabe the neck. I would kayfabe the knees, the ankles, the shoulder, something like that. Or is it technically the head? I'm not sure how that works. Doesn't matter. Next match, Reba, not Rebel, plus Jamie Hayter were defeated by Chris Statlander by the Spider Crab, which is an actually sweet looking hold. It's like a wheelbarrow Boston Crab with the arms and everything. It was pretty sweet. Big spot in this match, Chris Statlander had Rebel on her shoulders and like in a Doomsday Device position, and Jamie Hayter ran and jumped into her arms, and she was holding up both of them at the same time. Hayter ended up abandoning Rebel, and Rebel submitted, which of course that makes sense, even though it doesn't. You didn't need to have this match. Of course, it begs the question: why would Hayter jump towards Chris Statlander while Rebel is on her shoulders? Like, at worst, I mean, she's in an elevator position too, so if she doesn't catch her, Rebel falls backwards. I don't know. But that spot has always been weird to me anyway. The whole carrying two people at one time thing. But they pulled it off nice, and the crowd really got into it. As Chris Statlander was being surrounded after the match, Red Velvet came down there to watch her back. Kojima and Jon Moxley ended up getting into it at the press conference. Jon Moxley flipped the table, got in Kojima's face, shoved him, and then they threw very, very weak and trash punches at one another. Moxley has really, really, really been exposed. Like, I know a lot of people who didn't like him as Dean Ambrose, and I was defending him. Like a lot of people didn't like him then. Of course, all of those people love him now, but a lot of people didn't like him then. I thought that the persona was good. I thought that he, exuded tough guy. I still do believe that. I always said that he's like the Bruce Willis of of like wrestling right now. He's balding. He's a regular guy put in abnormal situations. But to me, like when it's like occasionally, like in this spot, he doesn't care. So there's no passion in this stuff. Him, like CM Punk, they need to have passion in these things in order for them to be good. Like these guys, like I think that what's happened to Jon Moxley, which is he started getting a little bit chubby. I'm not saying he's fat, but he's certainly not in the shape that he used to be in. Everything that he's done, especially some of the stuff in Japan, does not look as good as people believed it would be. He's not nearly as snug or as as people thought he was, and it just comes across as a guy throwing fake punches and a fake tough guy. But he's got all of the complete demeanor of somebody who could be a real tough guy, and it's really weird. I don't know, man. It's stupid. It's stupid. I want the Jon Moxley who showed up in AEW when he originally showed up, because he had a chip on his shoulder. You know, where's that guy? You know, I guess a year of working 1 day a week, if that, and you just you're a huge star just by existing. And you know, he really only started cutting good promos after he lost the title. You know, that kind of stuff, man. I don't. Moxley's been a real big disappointment to me, and it's sad that I had to say that because I was actually really excited by the prospect of him being this big star or whatever. But there's flashes of brilliance with Moxley, but I have to say overall I am not impressed, and I have not been impressed with Moxley in a while, mainly because he hasn't been doing anything. But because there's no plan for him or anything like that. That's the thing when you bring in these big, quote unquote, big stars and you got nothing for them. They just get lazy. They just kind of like, fuck it, I get paid big money just to show up and do very little. I get the most out of doing very little, so I'm going to do very little. And nobody cares. And who's going to say otherwise? Who's going to tell them to put more effort in? Who's going to take his spot outside of people that you're going to bring in who are going to from the same company he came from? For a long time, Moxley was probably the biggest star that they had other than Jericho. So now that he's finally got some competition, maybe he will kick it into high gear and seeing that, other guys are coming in and taking his spot, but who knows? I think maybe at this point, he doesn't give a shit. Mark Henry sat down with Daniel Garcia and Darby Allin 2.0, talking about their second, about how this match is the biggest match, most anticipated match, Darby Allin and CM Punk. And Darby Allin says that he's not overlooking Daniel Garcia, that he's going to knock him on his ass and then go on and face CM Punk at the end of the night, which is exactly what he ended up doing. CM Punk came out for commentary while wearing a Bret Hart, I believe it's a Roots of Fight shirt. It was pretty sweet. Darby Allin and Daniel Garcia. Darby Allin wins the match with Cradle. I forget what the move is called, but it wasn't. He didn't beat it with the coffin drop, which he should have. Like, what are we protecting Daniel Garcia for? Unless there's a reason. I'm gonna pitch a conspiracy theory later. But Daniel Garcia got to come into AEW, and he's been in the company about a month and a half. He's had a couple of big matches. He's got to work with Sting. He's got to work with CM Punk. He got a long main event match with Darby Allin. I think this is his second match with Darby Allin, actually. And you have to ask the question, like, who the fuck does he know that he get all these sweet privileges? Like, he just comes into the company. He's more prominently featured than Andrade, than Pac. Pac's been there a year. He's more prominently featured than Ricky Starks. He's more prominently featured than Hobbs. He's more prominently featured than Cage. He's more prominently featured in 99% of the women's division. He's more prominently featured in FTR. He's more prominently featured than most people. Lance Archer, another one. Like, this guy has had a hell of a rocket strapped to him. It's like, who the hell does this guy know? And it's not like he's a great promo. He's decent. And, looking at his work, and I've seen him in other places, I did look him up. He has, the exaggerated facial expressions, but at least he has facial expressions. He tries to sell with his face. And he has, the technical wrestling style. Some good counters. His stuff is a little bit fluid, kind of smooth. It's the way that things should be as far as grappling and stuff like that is concerned. But I have to ask the question, like, is he like Tony Khan's cousin or something like that? Like, is this his brother-in-law? Why does he get the sweet spots and everybody else is getting fucked over? Anyway, after the match, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia jumped Darby Allin and Sting. Sting was handily beating up these guys. The crowd screamed for CM Punk. This was a great shot right here. Punk came down to the ring. 2.0, he faced 2.0. 2.0 backed off, and then Darby Allin came through and with a tope, boom, bowled both of them over like bowling pins, and then stood eye to eye with CM Punk to close the show. The main event was good. I enjoyed the main event. I enjoyed Malachi Black's entrance. but the rest of this show is completely forgettable. I do want to know, like my conspiracy theory is that I think Daniel Garcia is probably going to be Daniel Bryan's first opponent, or it's going to be one of the guys he wants to work with, because his style is very much a Daniel Bryan style. So I'm thinking that's really why they putting him over so strong, is that they're trying to position him as being like the technical beast of AEW, and then he'll be kind of like, even though he's losing, he's not getting beat flat, So maybe Daniel Bryan would want to work with somebody like him, because Daniel Bryan seems to like guys that are similar to himself. Like Daniel Bryan is the guy who talked Vince McMahon into giving him 20 minutes with Drew Gulak, So maybe that's what we'll be doing is CM Punk, not CM Punk, but Daniel Bryan and Daniel Garcia. We'll see if that comes true or not. But let me know what you guys thought of Rampage from September the 3rd, 2021. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel, help the channel grow, and I'll talk to you guys later.